diving deep into something we all deal with every single day, authenticity in the age of social media. Hey, is what you see even real anymore? Come on. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I'm your host. Yes, I am. I'm Keith Bilous. Today we got CMartyFit, Jon Andersen, and producer Flynn. Well, she's off rocking and rolling with some big obligations today. Flinner, go get it today. Hey, listen, today's World Mental Health Day. So if you're getting up today, let's focus some attention on that. And what we like to do here in the lab is focus on mental health every single day. But hey, listen, we're coming up to you with a ton of great content this morning. But first things first here in the morning, first things first, go ahead and hit that like button. Good morning, Jack Dugan. Subscribe and drop us a comment below. We're here to help you stay accountable, Business Athlete Nation. And we want to know how you are crushing your goals today. And remember, at the Business Athlete Performance Lab, we're all about building business athletes. So whether you're a business leader looking to integrate some fitness and wellness into your life, or if you are an athlete trying to, need some help with the business world, this is the place for you. So let's get after it. And listen, let's remember, this is an explicit show. If you have kids in the room, I invite you to walk them out. If you have kids in the room, I invite you to put some headphones on. But hey, let's bring up the crew here onto stage. That's we got Marty, we got Jon. And we got, there we go, boys. What's shaking today? Hey, guys, what's shaking? I got some music in my ears here. How are we?
Nothing better than a good cigar and a cup of coffee at 5:04 in the morning.
That's my weakness, man.
Oh, man. Johnny's rocking a brand new shirt today. He's rocking a shirt that is, Johnny, let's see it, brother.
We rebranded the logo.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that. Fuck excuses is what it says on the shirt today.
It's still PG because that's the logo where the C is supposed to be.
Oh, so I like that. I like that.
PG, that's it. So for all of you that are afraid of offending your neighbor or somebody else that you're afraid of offending, don't worry about it. That's it.
Cuss words are bad, John.
Just let their mind go where you want it to go.
That's right. And Marty, of course, is rocking the blue. I think it's blue. It's a blue, less brunches, more crunches shirt. It's blue, yeah. He's got the red headphones on, rocking this morning. And hey, listen, just a quick reminder. Me, I got black on black with the black glasses, black hat, red, some kind of logo hat on my head here. Still working on the Bappel merchandise. But listen, just a quick reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, nation. You got to hit it. And if you're enjoying the show, send it to a friend who needs some motivation. Drop us a comment. Let us know what's on your mind, what goals you're chasing, because we're here to keep you accountable and help you level up every single day. So listen, boys, let's cut through the bullshit for a second. We're all drowning in this social media driven world where everything's a performance, right? Everyone's out here trying to look like they got it all figured out. Perfect this, perfect that, perfect this. But let's be honest, man. I'm suspecting much of it is a lie. We got this election coming around the corner. What's real? What's not real? All this stage filtered comment crafted to look like success. But then Johnny, Marty, we look at the individuals out there. We don't see the late nights, the failures. We see everybody sitting on these yachts in Ibiza. Oh yeah, I did all this. We don't see them grinding. But here's the real problem I'm suspecting. We're all comparing ourselves to these fake perfection that's just perpetuating the internet these days, right?
Brother, I just made a video about this.
Yeah. Johnny, you see someone's overnight success and you think, I got some fear of missing out here. What the hell's Jon doing or Marty doing that I'm missing out on? Like, what am I doing wrong? Am I not sleeping enough hours? Am I not eating my protein? What am I not doing? But here's what you're not asking, nation. How much of that is even real? Like, honest to God, listen, if you're spending more time crafting your image than you're putting in the work, you got your priorities slipped. You're worrying about the wrong things, as Jon would say. Just get to the freaking gym and do some work. Success isn't built on likes and followers. No, because that can all be faked, nation. Yeah, it can be. Success is built on discipline. It's built on consistency, day in, day out, the grind that no one sees. So my question to all of you is that, are you choosing to look for success, or are you actually willing to do the hard, ugly, messy work to earn it? Because Jon, Marty, I suspect that many people have just got too comfortable hiding behind fakery and then posting about the hustle but not living it. Right? At the end of the day, it's not about the perfect situation. It's about the scars, Johnny, Marty, and the lessons and the progress of the journey along the way. And here's what it's all about, right? You guys like this. It's about how you show up when no one's watching. Johnny, you talked about it in your video, brother. Where do you get on with this one?
Well, I think the first place that people got to start is this. People get all bent out of shape and butt hurt because they're looking at someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah. And
they're comparing it to their everyday. That highlight reel, there was a lot of shit that went into making that highlight reel. So it's say it all the time, man, don't look at the cars. Don't look at the houses. Don't look at the boats. Don't look at the trips. Look at the habits in the man that created all that shit.
Hey, Johnny, habits are boring, though. Habits are boring, Johnny. Who the hell wants to fucking follow habits, Jon Andersen? I don't want to follow habits. I want to go to a diesel on my yacht, Johnny.
Well, the guy that's got all that nice shit, he understands how powerful habits are. It's the people that are not willing to put in the work that talk the crap about habits. People who understand what it takes, they embrace habits, they embrace failing, they embrace pursuing fear, and that's what gets them to these really cool places. It's the people that sit back and talk shit and say, "Oh, this, that, and the other. I'll start tomorrow, and I don't need to go to the gym today." And they don't enforce the habits. They don't enforce all the shit that's not sexy to get the shit that's sexy.
That's right, Marty. I want a shortcut. I'm going to go buy a bunch of followers and fakery. That's how I'm going to drive some success. Comment on that, brother.
Hey, man, that stuff always comes out to light. Everybody that ends up finding out that you're a fake. So it's better to just do it the right way.
That's it.
Because you're gonna feel 10 times worse about it when it comes out.
Well, you know, the thing that people don't understand as well is you can have a social media account of any kind. That's huge. But if nobody gives a shit about what you're talking about, nobody's going to buy your stuff. And, you know, when it comes down to it, it's not just a matter of having numbers. I mean, that's just a small piece of the equation. The numbers that count, how many fucking purchases you have from the account that you're looking at. That's the number that matters.
That's right.
You can go buy all that stuff. Buying a bunch of fake people that aren't going to buy your stuff ain't helping anybody.
Not at all. Not at all. Hey, listen, we got a packed show coming up today. We got Daniel Hall hanging out in the green room. You guys remember Daniel? He was here a few weeks ago. The dude's a superhero. Yeah, the guy's got, I think, Jon CMarty, like 8,000 9,000 adopted children. Like the guy's just out there bringing adopted kids all over the place. The guy's actually a superhero. He's going to join us today. We're going to dive into the question of authenticity on social media. Is it real, or are we all just playing a role? Then we're going to dive into the power. We're going to talk about power of fake news and deep dive and how social media manipulates perception in that world. AJ is going to come up here later on in the hour, boys, breaking down the effects of social on mental performance and focus and so forth, and digital detoxing. Plus, guys, you don't want to miss the conversation happening in the Morning Loop Reloaded. I found a video from Allen Iverson around practice. Marty, I think you know this one. We're talking about practice all week, about practice makes perfect. We're going to drop that in Reloaded to talk a little about practice, how we get there.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah. In our gym segment, we're going to talk about building the best shoulders nation, how to build best shoulders with Jon Andersen and CMartyFit.
Hey, hold up, man. Hold up, Keith.
Yeah.
Now you're saying with Jon Andersen and CMartyFit, but at first he was like, Chris, you're going to ask Jon about shoulders. As if I don't have shoulders, Jon. I felt some type of way. Well, I know Keith. I know Keith saw me post on Instagram this week. Really, I know he saw it. Come on, man. It's
just different shoulders. It's just a different set of shoulders. That's all, you know.
Marty, here's the thing, Marty. Lauren overheard me saying it. She's like, "Hey, I could fucking do the shoulder segment with Jon and Marty. I'm thinking, yeah,
she could. She could. Yeah,
she probably could actually.
She definitely could.
Yeah. And then we got the creator spotlight coming up as well today. And if I got some time, I'm going to do the business and branding segment. But guys, I got something. Hey, Jimmy, is Daniel Hall ready? I want to bring Daniel Hall on for the segment. I got a funny segment here. Jimmy, let's bring Daniel Hall on here. Daniel, what's shaking, brother?
Hey,
what's up, Daniel?
Thursday.
Oh my
God!
I got something funny for you guys because I got a bunch of guys up here. Tina's not around, so she's like, really? You guys are actually having this conversation.
Let's cut up today since Tina's in here.
Yeah, exactly. So I got something different for you guys today. We're diving into a topic that's hit her. I was thinking about it yesterday, Marty. I got to be honest, man. I was thinking about Johnny when I was writing this up. We're diving into a topic, Daniel, that's hit most men at least once, and we are talking about sharts and what causes them and how to prevent them. Johnny, are you familiar with the old idea of the shart?
Oh, I thought you said shark at first. That's shart. Oh, are you kidding me? Hell yeah, the shart. Are you shit, man? First off, to endure the shart, you need to start doing lunges, because when you do lunges, you're going to get deep cheeks. Then when you have deep cheeks and you shart, you will not actually, you won't soil your underwear. How's that?
So we're going to talk about how you get sharts and how to avoid sharts.
Start lunging, baby. Start lunging.
So, Daniel Hall, would you like to join our conversation about sharts today?
Let's define sharts just so everybody understands. Keith, define a shart.
So a shart is when you shit yourself and fart yourself at the same time. And yes, Arm, I did not say shark. I said shart.
It's actually the other way. When you fart and shit yourself, you don't purposely shit yourself and fart. You fart and accidentally shit yourself. That's the shart.
It's that unexpected moment when you think it's just gas, Daniel. But it turns out when you're sitting there in a moment and it's a little more than you bargained for.
And you know how you identify? I've got this cold, real cold, man. I shouldn't say cold. It's actually warm, because that's the signal. You let one of these things go and you think, okay, that was hot. If it doesn't cool off here in about 3 seconds, I left something behind. That's how you identify it.
So
I mean, it's got to be some type of art form, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it ends with ART, just like fart. So
that's exactly.
I mean, man.
The art is to not soil your underwear.
That's it. So here's something to think about, nation. Is it just about what you eat, or is there more to it? Some people say stress plays a huge role in how your gut behaves. So no, it's not just about the food. It's about how you're feeling overall. So, if you're going to, here's what we know. It's all about keeping the digestive system healthy, avoiding greasy, heavy foods before workouts, Johnny. And if you got something important going on, maybe skip that questionable burrito, right? Marty, got to keep the hydration. Water keeps the digestion running smoothly, but not forgetting the fiber, right? If you're forgetting the fiber, your body's going to remind you in all the wrong ways, and next thing you know, you're going to be sharting all over yourselves. Marty, any comments on sharting, brother? Have you had any experience with sharting? I got a funny sharting story. I don't know if I should tell it with Carter not around here, but Carter had a fun sharting story. But
only time I shart is either when I got a stomach virus or alcohol. That's the only time that's it. Outside of that, I mean, that's it. I'm not a sharter. Johnny's a pro sharter.
He's
a pro sharter and a pro shitter.
Well, here's the thing too. The crazy part about this, if we want to talk about the supercharged version of this conversation, because this is like the minor leagues. Yeah. See, when you're in the strength world, when you get lifting really heavy shit, when you're lifting 800,000-900,000 pounds, I can't tell you how many people have shit their pants in the middle of that. Now, I'm not talking about shart. I'm talking about a loaf or a log, just where you're seeing someone you can tell, because the wife or the girlfriend is going to come meet them once they step off the platform or whatever they're doing with a pair of clean drawers, and they're going to disappear for a little while.
Dude, I never even thought about that. But is there ever logic in that? Isn't there, Daniel Marty? If you're Eddie Hall lifting 1,100 pounds and you've had a burrito a few hours earlier, it's going to have to get out of your body. There's just no question about it. If you've crushed a Five Guys, Daniel, and you're I'm going to go do a big lift, I can assure you it's going to work itself out of the body. Johnny didn't even think about that, brother.
Well, it's not. It's keep in mind, it's not everybody. When it comes, I've sharted 1,000 times, but I've never shit my pants on a heavy lift. But I know a lot of buddies who have, and it's not a one-time thing. It's like, when you think about, I'm going to lift this weight, or I'm going to break my back, or I'm going to lose my arm, or whatever you tell yourself, shitting your pants is pretty low on that totem pole of importance. You'll shit your pants every time to get that lift.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's what we know. Here's what we know, nation. Here's the bottom line. If you want to avoid that unwanted surprise, you've got to stay mindful of what you're putting in your body, guys. As you get up for your day today, you're not hitting the snooze button. Good morning, Mike Sullivan. I'm talking to you, brother. Eat clean, stay hydrated, and keep an eye on how stress might be affecting your gut. We were talking about gut health yesterday. Remember, a little prevention goes a long way. And if you're going to go lift something heavy, yeah, you might want to just, be around the bathroom or go have your partner around the area, because that might just help you out. So it might be something you might want to consider. And hey, if you got your own digestive mishap stories, we want to hear them. Drop them in the comments. We're all in this together. And if you're finding value in this conversation, I don't know how you couldn't find value in this conversation about sharding. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with a friend. We've got a packed show ahead coming up. Center stage in a minute with Daniel Hall. We're going to dig into social media and authenticity. But right now, we got a sound effect that sounds like this. And Jimmy, we're going to walk off Marty, John, and Daniel. We're going to get to the accountability check-in. All right, let's do this. It's time for the accountability check-in. We live in a world of filters, perfect feeds, curated highlight reels. That's just all we see. But you know what? Here's the reality, nation. Life? Real life ain't polished. Nope. Shouldn't be. As business athletes, we just don't show up when things are perfect. Oh, fuck no, man. We show up, period. That's just what we do. We show up, period. Our authenticity, it's built on the unfiltered moments, in the setbacks, in the grind, in the doubts, in the struggles. True leadership, business athlete nation, is saying, this is me. Flaws and all. So let's strip away the filters, damn it. Show the world the real you. I know you do, Arm. I know you do, Good Time. I know you do. Because pretending, oh man, pretending can be exhausting as. So today, as you start your day, as you get out of bed, not hit that snooze button. Go be real. Show your flaws inside and out. That's the accountability check-in. Here in the lab, listen, if you're staying accountable to your own things, we want to hear about it. Make sure to like, subscribe, check in with the channel if you're working on something big. Because we're all pushing this together, guys. Mornings in the lab. Every weekday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So join us. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, comment. Let's bring back up Johnny and Marty and so forth. All right, we're going to get into it. Center stage, the big segment today. Respect, Good Time, good to see you there. We were talking sharts, man. Good Time, you got to join earlier, man. We were talking sharts. Yeah, it's a true story. All right, Daniel, Johnny, Marty. Today we got someone who's been pushing boundaries in the world of software development. He's been here before. Daniel Hall, over 2 decades, Microsoft full stack developer, been coding since the age of, Johnny, 8. And his expertise, yeah, exactly. His expertise ranges across industries like nuclear. Dude, we got like a fucking nuclear scientist in the lab here, man. Like,
how many decades has that been?
Daniel, that's like a long time.
Yeah, 4.5 decades. But never knew I was going to come into the shark tank today.
The shark tank with Daniel.
Well, and here's the thing about that. People, generally speaking, people don't even do they don't focus on one skill for even a decade. Yeah. Like I've been lifting weights for 4 decades. When you do something, I don't give a shit what it is for 4 decades, you're going to be really goddamn good at it. So brother, right on.
I know. So let's dive right into it. Let's dive right into the heart of today's topic, Daniel. So you've been doing this, as we've said, for decades. Marty, not just a couple of days. No, Daniel's been doing this for a while. Authenticity in 2024 in a world of what's real and what's not real. It's becoming a huge talking point. And when you and I connected a number of months ago, I just got all excited because of the work that you're doing behind the scenes, not just in business, but in everyday life, especially within social media. Daniel, from your perspective, let's start here in the center stage segment today. As someone who's seen tech evolve how do you think the rise of all these digital platforms that are around us today has ultimately impacted the way that we present ourselves online? Are we moving in the direction of more authenticity, Daniel Hall? Or is it as obvious as it seems that we're moving in a direction of more inauthenticity more than ever? And is there a balance? Daniel Hall.
Yeah, there is definitely no balance there, just because, I mean, I can identify, 24,000 plus people that are choosing to be inauthentic on the platform while faking it right out in plain sight. But I did want to say that one of the things that we should all live by is one thing that Russell Crowe said in the movie Gladiator. What we do in life echoes through all eternity. And if you choose to fake it or you choose to cheat, that's what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember your vanity metrics. They're going to remember how you made them feel. It's never going to pan out. And so many people are jumping into that now, jumping into the fakery.
Daniel, some people today in 2024 might say that, and I know when I got back into the social media world 12, 14 months ago, social proof is all that matters. That's it. Yeah. That's it, right? But yet, if you want to grow a business, you might be creating a bunch of social spoof that we are creating. What do you say to those that are waking up today, starting out their business in social media, building their profiles, building their followers, building their businesses, going, you know what, I got to go build a bunch of social proof, so I'm going to go build a bunch of social spoof instead. Is that just part of the game in 2024, Daniel Hall?
That is part of the game. The social spoof is real, and it really is concerning with the elections and stuff in the U.S. coming up. And I've seen just a lot of stuff being faked and fake news being put out. And it's scary. It's scary how easy it is for somebody with a fake account to target you to get yourself in trouble. And you don't even know what's happening.
Lean into that a little bit, Daniel. When you say you don't even know what's happening, so let's pretend. So let's pick on Jon Andersen for a second. So are you saying that somebody could take Jon's account, make it fake, and he has no idea somebody's got behind him and perpetuating all this fake content on the platforms? And when we're talking Platform Nation, we're talking LinkedIn, we're talking X, we're talking Instagram. But right now, specifically for our conversation today, we're mostly leaning into LinkedIn. But are you saying that somebody could just take over Jon or Marty's account without them knowing? And then
100%.
Oh, tell
100%. So you have all these automated platforms that are out there where you can go and create what are called engagement pods, and you can have people join those, but it's all automated. And the unique thing about that is you can create a fake account on LinkedIn. I'll speak specifically to LinkedIn right now. You can create a fake account on LinkedIn, join one of these automated platforms, and then go and take one of Jon Andersen's posts and say, okay, I want to give Jon Andersen's post all this engagement from my pod. I might have 400 or 500 people in my pod, but I want them to use AI to comment and react on that one post that Jon Andersen just dropped. There is no validation out there whatsoever. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. And Jon wouldn't even know it was happening. So
to interrupt you there, so Jon, I'm gonna do a role play here, nation. So don't hear me literally here. So Jon's a card carrying blue member of politics. I don't care what color he is, and all of a sudden Jon is spewing content out that is suggesting he's a red carrying member of politics. And what you're saying, Daniel, is he has no idea that this is happening.
Correct. No idea, unless he knew how to. Go ahead, Jon.
I was going to say, I've experienced, some of this, but not quite this way. I mean, I've had multiple accounts that have been created to look like mine. And, then almost always they're up to no good. and then I got to report them. I got to have my team. I mean, it's crazy between my team and friends. We got to report these things 25, 35 times before they finally take action. But, on the flip side of that, I always look for the good, even in the bad. And just recently, so my social media manager comes to me, sends me a text. He says, we got another one. And I look at it closely, and it's someone who's imitating, basically me. They've even got a sales page on their on the profile. Like, you son of a bitch. So I clicked the link, follow it down, and it was my sales page. True the T, I checked it. It was literally led back to me. So I was like, you know what? I guess there still are good people on the planet here who are actually using this to promote others. Not very often, I would say, out of probably very small percentage. But anyway, I just thought it was refreshing to see that somebody actually used social media to go the right way with this, to actually say, you know what? I like this guy. He motivates me. He's helped me. I'm going to basically promote him. Now, that's a very small percentage. The other side of the equation, these dudes that are creating other pages of mine, what they do is they'll create a page, look like me, and they will go pursue clients. Like when I post social proof, I can't put a last name because that, these scammers will go find that person and ask for loans and shit. I had a client come and say, "Hey, are you okay? You just asked me for $200 on Facebook." I was like, "What? No, it wasn't me." I said, send me a link of the page. Yeah, God knows what this guy was up to, but it's pretty crazy when people and here's the thing, put that energy into doing good and you'll get further along than all this energy you're putting into doing bad.
Well, that's the funny thing, isn't it? Is that's the irony in this, is that there's so many people putting all this effort into the bad stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, if you put that effort into the good, you might have some great. Marty, when you're hearing Daniel talk and you're hearing Johnny talk, is so, and Daniel's like, yes, social spoof is just the way the game is played today. Right, Marty, I know you're very active on Instagram. You got a great following. You build your business there with Less Brunches, More Crunches. As a 31-year-old businessman, Marty, do you just accept that spoofery and fakery is part of the social game in 2024? Is that just a reality, Christopher Martin?
Just part of the game. It's only getting worse, and that's why I call it out as often as I can. But it's not going anywhere, so you got to move with some discernment and always be skeptical. Always be skeptical. Always, your first thought should be, is this person scamming me? And go from there and do some digging before you decide to go with someone.
Yeah, Daniel, you dropped some nuts for us here today as we wrap the segment up a center stage. Give Business Athlete Nation, give Jon, give Marty, give Keith one thing before we move into deep dive and continue this conversation on inauthenticity and so forth. But let's lean into.
I'm sorry, Keith. You said you dropped some what?
I thought he said nuts too.
Yeah, you say you dropped some nuts?
I did say drop some nuts.
He was trying to say drop some nugs. I'm sure he was trying to say nugs. But nuts came out. We'll take it.
We don't got Tina here questioning everything I'm saying right now. So I'm just saying we're dropping nuts, Marty.
I got to play Tina's role. That was crazy, man.
You're not starting, are you?
Daniel Holiday today is dropping nuts while Bilous is sharding in his pants. But Daniel, what's the one thing that you want people to take away when it comes to being? So I want to get into fake news and the engagement pods and so forth in the next segment, a deep dive. But let's talk about this one thing, Daniel, before we get into Marty's fit tip. One thing that people can take away from being authentic on social media, is it what Johnny said, which is, damn it, if you're going to put the work into positivity, or is it what Marty says, which is not, you just got to accept the fakery and just deal with it? Daniel Hall.
Life is not defined by how successful you are. It's defined by how well you can recover from your mistakes. Chaos will always breed success if you can wield it successfully.
Yes.
And that being authentic, that is what being authentic is about. Everybody has a story. Everybody has the pain. It's how we choose to deal with that, whether we need a tribe to help us deal with that. It's how we choose to make it through. That's how we grow. That's how we're successful, not by all the money and all the glamour and the vanity.
Yes.
And how do you react when nobody's looking?
Yep.
That's it. That's exactly it. And hey, if you're vibing with what Daniel's saying, hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment below, and tell us what you're doing to stay authentic in a world of filters and fakeness. And remember, we're live every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Not fake. No, we're live. Real human beings. It's funny because I was just telling Marty and Jon on the show here before the show started. People are like, I'm tired of the fake AI influencers. I'm tired of the fake AI hosts. Can we get some real entertaining hosts? I'm like, yeah. You come hang out with Keith, Jon, and Marty, 8 o'clock Eastern time, joining us here on Mornings in the Lab. You're going to get some real hosts, and you're also going to get at this time the CMartyFit tip, where Christopher Martin gives you guys something from the fitness world to think about. Marty,
come on, man.
What do you got for us today, brother?
Man, let's rock. We got some good stuff. It's for the fellas. All right, fellas. This is going to be a sore spot for some of y'all. But this is what we're here for. We're here to talk about the things nobody wants to talk about. Fellas, how do we get rid of the man boobs? Yes, I said man boobs, all right? First step, you got to focus on overall fat loss. You can't just target your chest. But I'm going to give you some chest exercises to start with, all right? Push-ups, simple. You can do standard push-ups, wide push-ups, close grip, or diamond push-ups like people like to call it. All right, keep your body straight, elbows tucked, 45-degree angle. Use your chest. Don't push through your elbows. Your elbows shouldn't be out wide right here, all right? And you can always change the hand positions, like I just mentioned, to hit different parts of your chest. Bench press. Me and Johnny talk about it all the time, all right? Now, you're going to lower the bar to the middle of your chest. Same thing. You want your elbows at a 45-degree angle, just like the push-ups. And focus on the chest engagement as you press up. That's also going to work your shoulders and your triceps as well. Great compound movement. Incline dumbbell bench press. Incline dumbbell press, all right? You're going to have the bench 30 to 45-degree angles. You can switch it up. I like to switch it up in my workouts, all right? Same thing. When you press up, focus on squeezing your chest. And then we got cable flies. That's another good one. And you can go cable flies. You can go low. You can go chest level, or you can bring them up high to hit different angles of your chest. All right, keep a slight bend in your elbows and focus. Those are going to target your chest, but like I mentioned earlier, you got to focus on overall fat loss. So you got to hit other body parts, and you got to get the nutrition in, and you got to drink your water. All right, stay hydrated, and be careful on NFL Sundays drinking all them Bud Lights and Miller Lights, all right? I know it says light, but it ain't that light, all right? It's still a lot of calories. So be careful with it. And that's how you're going to get started on your journey to get rid of the man boobs. That's the fitness tip for today.
With CMartyFit, 8:30 Eastern time, Monday to Friday, with Keith, Jon, Marty, and producer Flynn, who's off today.
Man, I just got to jump in real quick and say, man, Marty, that was good stuff, because there's nothing worse than a man with a tit that folds over. You know, if you got a tit that folds over, man, you got to look yourself in the mirror. Here's the thing. Number one, you need to go to the nearest bathroom where there's a mirror. You need to take your shirt off. Grab a hold of one of those things, flop it around a little bit, and ask yourself if you're proud to be playing with your own tit. And if you're not, it's time to take this shit seriously. Come on now.
Hold on, Keith. I gotta add something else.
Please do.
Right? Those of you that are believers that of Christian faith, when God made man, He didn't want us to have the boob. I don't think He created Adam with the boob. I think He gave Eve the boob, but I don't think He gave Adam the boob, and I don't think that was His vision for men when He created the world. I'm gonna leave it at that.
100%. You listen. You can eat as much crap as you want. You can get those tits as big as you want them. They ain't never going to produce any milk. So stop with pretending. You know, you got to remember who you are.
Hold on, Keith. I got something else.
Keep going.
And you confusing the baby. The baby think he's in the mom's arms.
That's it.
Don't confuse the baby. The baby's still learning. All right.
That's it.
Come on, man.
The baby's coming out selling for a tit right away because he's hungry or she's hungry. The last thing you want to do is put a nipple in there that doesn't work.
Daniel,
now the baby mad at you.
The baby's not saying dad, it's saying mama.
if you guys want to learn how to create,
you guys are milking it too much here.
We have our new returning. I think we have a new regular co-host who's going to play along with us for the future. Our friend Daniel Hall, who's absolutely fitting in here. We started the show talking about sharding. Now we're talking about folding tits. So, gentlemen, you know how to get your days.
Yeah. When you got to lift it up to clean underneath there, you've gone too far.
How far is too far?
Well, and just so everybody knows, if you got yourself a set of these, I feel your pain. I was once there. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and I take a folder as I was in school, put it over my face. Like, damn it, am I looking at a little boy or a little girl here? This is terrible. You know, if your tits look like a girl, you got to take some action.
You got some work to do, fellas.
Oh my God. All right, we're hanging out with Daniel Hall here. Mornings in the lab with Keith, Jon, and Marty. We're talking sharding. We're talking inauthentic social media. But listen, here's the thing, guys. It's never been easier, ever. It's never been easier to make content that looks perfect, looks polished, even if it's not real. Whether it's AI-generated images, likes, misleading videos, creating fake content, creating fake news. It's just so simple now. You heard in Center Stage how somebody was, pretending that they were Jon. So, Daniel, some people might say, come on, it's just the internet. I'm going to go put some stuff out there. But I don't really care. It's misinformation. I'm going to doctor up a photo. It's just not really a big deal. But yet it is. Where's the line, Daniel, on just accepting something, we're taking it out there for granted, and where does fake content go from harmless entertainment to actually harmful content? And I really want to go here in the next few minutes, Daniel, because I think people just aren't really thinking about how harmful this could be. Daniel Hall.
Yeah. So when you think about, doing art on AI or Shart, whatever it is, if you want a picture of a Shart or art, it doesn't matter. You can use AI to do that. But it's when you actually take that and now you start talking about somebody sharding. And you're doing a deep dive in a post. And yeah, let's switch that up because you guys got my brain on milking the shark.
Well, but real quick, let me dive in real quick, brother. If I want to go on social media and talk about myself and me sharding and me, saying, hey, this is a lesson I learned. You guys take notes. That's one thing. But if you're going to create something and generate someone to put someone else down or demean someone else, that's a whole different deal. I mean, I use social media to share my journey, to share my vulnerability, so people can say, you know what, Jesus Christ, look at him now and look where that son of a bitch was, and the thing I always say is, look, man, I started off more subpar than most of you, and look where I put myself, and you can do it too. So I think that there's the flip side of the coin. Obviously, we talk about the fakery, we talk about this, but I think at the same time, we also have to remember that there's also a lot of good, and to find that good and focus on that good. It's crazy. We have to be really, really careful what we spend our time paying attention to. That's my fitness tips about. My lifestyle tips about is, so I'll save that for a few minutes. But on that level, obviously we're talking about the fakery. But, so Daniel, I was just jumping in real quick when you're talking about, creating something that might be embarrassing or harmful to somebody else, when that's a story for them to share themselves.
Yes, it is. And the reason why I brought that up, Jon, is if I now take that post and I drop it into an engagement pod, I now have social proof that Jon is sharding. Because I put that in there. I put that on a post. Then I drop my automated pod people to automatically react and comment on that. They have no idea what they're commenting on. They're just they've agreed to comment on it, but they are now putting themselves on your radar because it looks like they're agreeing with it. That's why I wanted to talk about that, because you can really tear somebody apart on any social platform and make it look like social proof. And on the reality, in reality, it's just a huge social spoof.
So Daniel, man, the knowledge you drop here for us to think about is exceptional. Daniel, what advice would you give to me or to Jon or to Marty or to Good Time or to Arm or somebody listening right now? How do they know? How can somebody tell whether what Jon has shared or Marty has shared or what Keith has created is authentically from them? Is there a way to do that in today's world, or do we just gotta, or do we have to literally look at every single post and recognize that it's fake first, and then try to convince us that it's real second? What advice do you give folks?
Practice. You can practice looking at posts and do that, but having connected human conversations with people before you even start working with them or start, saying they're the next thing since sliced bread, you have to have those authentic conversations with people to get to know them. I'm having conversations with you guys. I'm still getting to know you. I'm still finding my limits of where I can bring out my laughter and creativity. That's the advice that I would give. Now, if you're looking at the numbers are always usually a telltale sign, especially the reposts and shares. Those are usually a good sign that they're using pods.
Interesting. Daniel, before we wrap up the conversation, I'd like you to define what an engagement pod is for somebody who's tuning in going, he's talking about this engagement pod idea. Yep. What is an engagement pod, Daniel Hall?
Sure. So let's say all three of us wanted to like each other's content. We might not know what each other does, but we want to get a group together, and I paste a post in there from a social media account, and I say, guys, can you comment and like on this? Sure. Great share, like, and that's all well and good. Those are somewhat okay. But it's when you get hundreds and of people just doing that and just they're not even in your business side. They don't align with your business. That's just crazy. But it's when the automated stuff gets going, the automated platforms where AI comes into play. And now people it's like Ron Popeil and Ronco, set it and forget it. I join one of these automated platforms. I agree to like everything that comes through that I'm in a pod for, and I agree to comment on it. It doesn't matter what the comment is. I'll just let it fly. I just want to make people look like I'm engaging. That's scary.
The haters must be using these things, man, because those dudes come in swarms, man.
Yeah, man.
It's like a pack of locusts, man. They come in there, they suck up all the resources, and they move on to the next one, man. Oh, it's crazy.
We're going to get to lifestyle tip here in a quick second to wrap up with Daniel Hall. But this is why I wanted to invite Daniel Hall onto the show here. And my goal here is to do this again, especially as we get closer to the U.S. election. And I know we're not about politics in this show, but we're about informing folks. And I want you all to hear me really clearly. What Daniel's talking about is that, one can easily create some content around the election coming up, put it into engagement pod, whether it's real or not real, it doesn't really matter. Create the content, put hundreds, thousands, millions of people in that pod and hit submit. And that information is easily and instantly disseminated, not knowing whether it's real or not real. And nation, that's happening today. I'm not trying to fearmonger you. I'm just telling you it's happening. So as Johnny says, if you're out there today going, I'm going to make a choice today, here's the choice. Put the work in. Just please put the work in.
Yeah.
Daniel Hall, let's wrap it up, pal. What's one thing you'd give somebody some advice today as they get on with their day with some of the things that we talked about? One piece of advice, Daniel Hall.
Be yourself 100% of the time, whether you're online, offline, talking to somebody on the phone. Just be consistent. Be you, because people will figure that out sooner or later. And I think what Jon was alluding to earlier is it's always going to come back. The bill is always going to be due at some point. And if you're faking it till you make it, people are going to find out what that fakery is all about. And they're going to see you in a completely different light, because I'll tell you from experience, people will remember the bad shit.
Yeah. Let me just comment real quick on that. I love that, Dan. You said, fake it till you make it. That saying is so misunderstood.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it doesn't mean go buy a bunch of shit you can't afford. Fake it till you make it means do all the difficult shit that nobody can see until you make it. It's don't look at this from the side of, okay, I'm going to go leverage myself and buy some crazy car that I can put in my posts. Look at it from the side, okay, I'm going to get up earlier than everybody else. I'm going to do the shit that nobody else is willing to do so I can make it. So don't confuse that statement. Somehow, some way, people took that the wrong direction. It gets a lot of people in trouble.
Very, very, very true. Hey, listen, you're hanging out with Keith, Jon, Marty, and our guest, Daniel Hall. Daniel, you come back and see us again, brother. Listen, let's do this again as we're heading closer to the U.S. elections in a month. Can we do this again, brother? Because
absolutely.
I want to keep informing the world. I want folks to know they can come by Mornings in the Lab with Keith, Jon, and Marty and get the information they're not getting anywhere else, because we're having the conversations here that nobody's having anywhere else. Daniel, my brother, you go take care of your family. Take care of yourself. We'll see you again. Okay, pal?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Dan. Yep.
Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you, Daniel.
if you are feeling this conversation, drop us a comment below about how you stay authentic online. Have you ever caught yourself sharing something that wasn't quite real? I know you have. We probably all have. How did you handle it? Did you like it? Did you comment on it? And if you're getting value from this episode, I invite you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody who needs to hear this. Good morning, So Young. I see you there as well. Listen, we got Jon Andersen coming up with this sound effect. Jimmy, hey, boys. Producer Jimmy's doing a hell of a job producing the show today. Jimmy's doing a great job, brother. Thank you, buddy. AJ Zeglen's hanging out in the green room waiting for us. He's got some MindFuel, the mental dude. Yeah, since first day, I'm like, hey, he's the mental dude. AJ Zeglen joining us after lifestyle. Yeah, stick around for that. Andersen, you're up, pal. I got my tongue tied here.
Let's go. All right. Caution. This is serious business. When I say this, listen closely. Be careful what you think about. It's pretty crazy how what you think about will come true much more often than you think. Let's make an example really simple. Let's say that you're having one of those days that's just not going your way and you're thinking about reasons why you shouldn't go to the gym. Well, you think about that long enough, you'll find the reasons you need to not go to the gym. Now let's flip that around. You think about, yes, this day's a bitch, but you start thinking about reasons why you should go to the gym. Guess what? You're going to find the reasons you need to go to the gym. So be very, very careful. You're going to get what you think about much more often than you think. So make sure you are thinking about the shit that serves you getting to your goals and the life you truly want. Rock and roll.
Jon Andersen, the lifestyle tip daily, 8:45 Eastern time. Something to help you move your life forward. All right, now it's time for MindFuel, where we dig into the mental side of success. I should have brought AJ up here earlier. We were talking sharding. AJ, you missed the sharding conversation, brother.
AJ, what's up, brother?
How you guys doing? It unfortunately happens to all of us at some point.
Today we're talking about something we all deal with. No, not sharding. The constant pressure of social media. And our good friend AJ Zeglen, who's here every single Tuesday and Thursday for MindFuel. AJ helps athletes and business leaders achieve their big goals through the power of the mind. He's here to break it down for us today. We're going to talk about digital detox and how stepping away from social media can actually help us reconnect with who we truly are. Brother, welcome back to the show. We're living in a time, AJ, where everyone's constantly online, pushing to maintain this perfect polished image, perfect content, perfect everything. But AJ, we both know that so much of it isn't real, and it's messing with people's mental health. I gotta think there's guys coming into your office, into your clinic saying, dude, I'm just fucking messed up with all this social media stuff. It's FOMO. It's messing up my work life, messing up my personal life. Let's talk about the importance of taking a step back, a digital detox. AJ,
yeah, for sure. And you know what? I think I'd love to tie this in to start into Jon's lifestyle tip, because I think they're actually connected with one another.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When we're consuming that information and we're looking at information, it can set us down a path of either positive or negative, right? Also, like you guys were talking about before we jumped on, I kind of caught the last little bit of your previous conversation. Nothing is inherently good or bad on its own. You know, it's how we use it, how we perceive it, right? And social media, when we consume it from a standpoint of, I don't have this, I don't have that, they're better than me, they got this, my life sucks, why am I not doing this, blah, blah, blah. You know, we can get caught in that negative loop. And what Jon was talking about in the lifestyle tip there, we actually have a name for that. There's a group of neurons in our brain, and we abbreviate it RAS, but it's called the reticular activating system.
Oh yeah, man.
And the reticular activating system basically acts like a screen or a net, right, around our brain. Did you guys already talk about this today?
No,
not at all, bro. I'm just giving it up because this is 100%. This is perfect, brother. Go for it.
Okay,
I love it.
Perfect. I didn't know if maybe I missed it earlier.
No.
But so you know how this works. Think of it as a screen or a net, because at any given moment we are just overwhelmed. We're flooded with millions and millions of pieces of information. You step outside your house right now, there's millions of sights, sounds, different shades of color, all this information coming in that we're processing. So our brain can't handle everything at once. So what it's going to do is this reticular activating system is going to start paying attention to be like, hey, what's important to Keith right now? Okay. And that's what I'm going to let through. I'm going to block the other stuff out, but that's what I'm going to let through. So if Keith wakes up in the morning and he starts his day and he jumps on social media and consumes a bunch of negative content and a bunch of content that makes him feel less than, then all of a sudden your RAS is going to be like, hey, it's important for Keith right now to actually find more of this bad stuff. He's thinking about it a lot. It must be important to him. I'm going to let more of that stuff through, and I'm going to block out all the other stuff. Because at any given moment, we're surrounded by just as many positive and negative things at any given time. It's really just what we're paying attention to. So there is actually a process. There's a system in our brain, again, a group of neurons that helps control that. So what Jon's talking about, it's just not opinion. That's fact. There's scientific evidence that this is how our brain works.
You know, and on that level, I always like to simplify shit to help people understand what we're talking about. It's a little complex. Think about it like this: when you get say that you get a new car, maybe you get a red certain type of sports car. Let's say you get a red Mercedes, and SL 500, whatever it is. You get that car. Obviously, that car was important to you. You got it. You'd be blown away when you're driving around over the next few months how many of those cars you're going to see. Yes. Because your brain has basically put that right up for it's important to me. Let's find more of these. And so it's just, I mean, what AJ is saying is so true with social media, man. You got to choose what you're looking at. I mean, that was the thing I was going to say is you need to be careful who you choose to follow, and granted now you get shit even when you're not following, just flip on by that, and you really have to, what you consume is really going to shape how you think and how you view your world.
Hey, Marty, question for you, brothers. You start your day and you're hearing AJ talk about the things he's talking about. And I know you roll over, we grab our phones. And when we started the show together, I was like, hey, man, this hypothesis, people start their day in the morning, let's get in front of them. When you hear AJ talk this way, do you purposely run towards it or run away from it? Or have you taught yourself how to manage it, Marty?
I'm more of a manager type of person. Because my client, I wake up super early. I got clients texting me, so I'm on my phone, and I always open my phone to start the day with something positive. And sometimes I happen to see the BS messages and some comments on my story when I do that. But like I said, I've learned how to manage it, and my whole morning routine is just positive. I'm listening to something positive. I get to the gym early. I do a whole stretch routine, the foam roll routine before my clients even get there. So I'm just feeling great. So, I think there are people who you don't need to touch your phone in the morning if it's going to ruin your day. If you see, something negative or something's going to make you feel bad, because I know a lot of people like that. I have clients like that. So sometimes, you got to find what works for you.
Which is why we're telling folks to tune into this show first thing in the morning. A positive show to help you guys get started. 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday mornings in the lab. And days like today, Thursdays, we got AJ Zeglen joining us here in the morning here. AJ, you got guys coming in to see you. They're caught up in all this. How do we know when it's affecting our mental health? What should I be looking for in my own world to say, you know what, I got to go talk to AJ, man. I'm just kind of messed up right now. Is there one thing, AJ, what somebody should be paying attention to?
Yeah, that's the golden question, right? Because it all comes down to our awareness. When we're looking at our mental health and performance or mental wellness, the first step is always awareness, right? Because if we're not aware that something is happening, how would I ever change it?
Yeah.
If I have the worst habit in the world, but I'm completely oblivious to doing it and I don't see how it's affecting me, what's the likelihood that I'm going to take the proper steps to change it? There's nothing, right? I probably won't do it. So, that kind of golden question is, how do we make people more aware of how stuff is affecting them? And I wish I had an amazing answer for you, like do this one thing to become more aware. And, you'll suddenly have this great sense of awareness, and then you can change all these things in your life or help work or it will help, work through all these challenges that you're facing. Unfortunately, I don't have that one great tip other than it's a bit of a process, right? We have a conversation like this, somebody hears it, and then they think like, does social media, is it affecting me in a negative way? And then they start to reflect on it and think about it and be like, you know what, like, I feel like I don't have great conversations with my partner anymore. We argue a lot more than we used to. Or I feel like I feel really kind of, crappy about my job or where I am in life lately. I never used to feel that way, and you start to reflect and think. And then as you're doing that, it's this exercise in building awareness. Once that awareness is there, then we have the ability to say, okay, this has become an issue for me. Like now I want to take steps to change it.
Well, yeah, let me just jump in right there, brother. You're so correct. And I love that. And one of the things I do myself that I also teach my clients, I'm just going to talk about the tip of this formula, but there's an exercise. And the last part of the exercise is basically asking yourself a question. What dumb shit did I do today that I don't want to do tomorrow? That little bit of inventory about what you did, because most people will repeat the same mistake over and over and over. And then that's what holds them back. And they don't, just like I just said, they don't even know they're doing it. Well, put yourself on Front Street, ask yourself, what did I do today that if I didn't do tomorrow would really move the needle forward? That's a massive, massive help, but it's got to be a daily habit. Yes. I call it purge as part of a formula I have called P3, but the third P is purge. What do I want to purge out of my life?
Right.
Oh, I like that. Good morning, Chris. Chris Brand, I see you there. Can I get a hi? Yeah, you can get a hi. This is a good start. Hey, Chris, if you like the show, if you comment on the show, if you shared the show, if you subscribe to the show, if you haven't, I invite you to do so. Oh, yeah, we're talking digital detox with our friend, the mind dude, the mental dude, AJ Zeglen here this morning. AJ, before we wrap, and if you want to stick around for the next segment of Reloaded, I know you got a busy day ahead of you, but we're actually going to dig into a topic around practice with Allen Iverson, that big video that dropped a few years ago at the press conference. If you want to stick around for that, you're more than welcome to. But before we wrap up, Mr. Zeglen, it's one piece of advice you'd give to someone right now who's tuning in, hearing the show later, who feels like they're losing themselves in the digital noise and they want to reconnect with their authentic self. AJ.
Right. I would say the one tip that I would give for that is, and this is not mine, that this comes from Don Ruiz, who wrote a book called The 4 Agreements. I would highly recommend it to everyone. These agreements are applicable to every aspect of your life. But one in there is never make assumptions. So don't make assumptions. When we jump on social media, all we do is we make assumptions. Assumptions just ruins communication, right? So we're assuming that this person's life is perfect. It's better than ours. We're making assumptions that, we're not good enough, that we don't. And these assumptions just ruin everything. So when we are in a situation like that where there's a lack of communication, we can't communicate. Your previous guest said it perfectly. They love to talk to people face to face. You got to get to know someone personally, if you could trust them when you consume their content. If we're in a scenario where we're feeling like that, just quickly think to yourself, am I making an assumption here? Okay, what's the assumption that I'm making? Yeah, I'm assuming that this person life is absolutely sunshine and rainbows and perfect, and they make $1 million a day because that's what their Instagram feed or whatever tells me. Okay, I see I've made an assumption there. Okay, this is not good, right? This is not a proper way for me to base my value on myself on, right? Because it's being predicated or built upon assumptions. So identify the assumption in there. If one is being made, it kind of gives us a tip that it's not going to be helpful for us.
You know what I took from today's conversation, gentlemen? Both Johnny said it, Marty said it, and you said it, AJ, all in different ways. Two things: awareness and intention, right? And like you said, AJ, there's no magic bullet to create awareness, but then Johnny and Marty, like Marty gets up and he intentionally makes choices that don't put him in a bad spot, right? Johnny wakes up and has habits that are intentional to put him in a good spot, right? Then you talked about AJ going, well, yeah, but there's no magic bullet to create awareness. Well, no, there is though. It's called intention. Right. It's actually pausing, slowing down, and saying, okay, where am I going to put my thoughts today? Or am I going to put my thoughts into some negative habits that perpetuate themselves? Or am I going to put my thoughts into some positive habits that perpetuate themselves to create that awareness? So that's what I took from today's chat today, man. And I know there's no right or wrong to it. And listen, Nation, if you're feeling the pressure of social media, I invite you to drop a comment. Let us know how you're managing it. And if you're thinking about doing that digital detox, tell us what you're taking. You know, I know as I went through my divorce years ago and I left social for 8 years, guys. And I came back as a ghost. That's a whole other conversation. It's like, hey, where's your social proof? Oh, yeah, right. So listen, if you're loving this episode, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with someone who could use a little MindFuel. And so forth. So, Age, at this point, typically we bring Flynner in to do the personal brand, but she's off doing some things today. So we're going to continue the chat. We're going to move into Morning Loop Reloaded. Zeglen, are you able to stick around for a few minutes, or do you got to rock and roll out of here?
No, yeah, I got a couple more minutes for you. Absolutely.
Awesome. Let's do that then. So let's pivot, Jimmy. We're going to get the because I know AJ likes this.
Can I say one more thing before we leave this segment, brother?
Brother, you do it. Yeah.
So the intention, which is key, but
Yes.
Here's the thing. Intention needs to be applied every day.
Yes.
And if you don't have a habit of applying that intention, it's not going to work for you. So don't just think, oh, I'm going to be intentional from now on. Set yourself an alarm, set yourself part of your morning to get into that proper space mentally, consume the right content, have the proper thoughts, do the things that are going to help you move that needle forward. And a daily habit of being intentional is going to be a massive, massive step forward for anybody that's trying to do it.
Great advice. Great advice from Jon Andersen. Welcome back to Mornings in the Lab Reloaded, the morning loop here. We just wrapped up hour 1, hanging out with AJ and Daniel Hall and Chris and John. And hey, we're kicking off hour 2 here with one of the most talked about moments in sports history. Yeah, true story. No, it's not Wayne Gretzky's goal. Nope. We're talking about Allen Iverson's famous practice press conference.
We talking about practice.
And last couple of days we've been talking about practice. Johnny always talks about, what do you say, Johnny? How you practice is how you play, or what's Johnny's? You got something you say there, Johnny, all the time.
I mean, I got so many things I say all the time. Shit, which one are you talking about? But I would say the thing that's missed about practice is what creates confidence.
Yes.
So when you practice something every day, you're going to build your confidence. And that's the thing is people don't recognize it's, especially when you're practicing in the dark, so to speak, when you're practicing when nobody's looking. And remind yourself this, and this is something I tell myself all the time. The darker it is, the closer I am to the light. Remember that.
Oh,
when it's really, really dark, keep going, because next thing you know, poof, it's not going to be a little light that ends that you spot at the end of the tunnel. It's going to come hard and fast, but it's only reserved for those who have the nuts to keep going when it's pitch dark.
That's exactly it. So we've been talking about practice over here for the last couple of days. We talked yesterday about how to change your life, and it's really about doing the boring things day in, day out, doing things day in, day out, right? And we talk about how you practice is how we play. Well, a couple years back, Allen Iverson sat down and had a press conference around practice. We're going to run the clip, break down what happened, and dive into the deeper question with CMarty and AJ and Johnny, which is how important is practice? And do we put too much emphasis on it? Let's get the video running, Jimmy. Let's have the conversation after this. Let's roll it. It's about 2 minutes, guys. Let's put it up here.
Tell you that I miss practice. If a coach say I miss practice and y'all hear it, then that's that. I mean, I might have missed one practice this year, but if somebody say he doesn't come to practice, it can be one practice out of all the practices this year. That's enough. If I can't practice, I can't practice, man. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt. I mean, simple as that. It ain't about that. I mean, it's not about that at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's easy to talk about. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example. I know that. And I'm not shoving it aside, you know, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We talking about practice, man. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice, man. When you come in the arena and you see me play, don't you? You see me give everything I got, right? Absolutely. But we talking about practice right now. But it's an issue that you're we talking about practice. Man, look, I hear you. It's funny to me too. I mean, it's strange to me too. But we talking about practice, man. We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters. We talking about practice. How the hell can I make my teammates better by practice?
All right, let's get into it. So that clip never gets old. It never gets old, but it brings up an important question. Marty, I'm looking to you first, brother. Iverson was one of the greatest to ever play the game. And yet here we are, and here he is sitting talking about practice. So what's the takeaway? Is practice really everything, Christopher Martin, CMartyFit? Or do we sometimes put too much emphasis on it? You know, Jon talks about practice is how we play, especially when the game itself is what really counts. I want to hear, you know, Nation, you guys are tuning in right now. What are your thoughts in the comments? Marty, you first, AJ, you next, and then Zeglen after that. I'm sorry, Marty, AJ, and Johnny. Marty, you first, brother. What did you take on this?
Yeah, man. He's a franchise player. He's bringing in millions. When it's time to perform, when the game is on the line, you can count on Allen Iverson, right? That's what he's getting paid for. That's what you drafted him for. That's what he's known for. Now, I'm pretty sure if he missed practice, he had a legit reason. He said he was hurt, and if he's hurt, he can't perform, and people are coming to watch him play. So maybe the guy needed a day off. I think the reporters were also looking for a reason just to mess with him, because that's what the media does. They need a great storyline. So you got to understand that too. But at the end of the day, you got to perform. So let's move that to business. Are you getting the sales? Are you getting the results? If not, who cares what coaching course you took? Right? Because that would be practice for business. Oh yeah, I got the best. I work with Bilous and Jon Andersen, but you ain't getting no sales. So who cares? Mm-hmm. Right? If you're the family guy, well, I'm working hard, but your kids don't care. You're not spending time with your kids. You're not spending the time with your wife, right? Are you performing? Are you performing at a high level, at the highest level? And Allen Iverson does that. So the practice stuff is irrelevant. That was the best analogy I could try to make to real life.
I like that. So AJ, it's an interesting balance, right? You got guys like Iverson, you got guys like Bryant, James, clearly raw talent, performing at the highest level day in and day out. But then you got people like myself, Jon Andersen, Marty, yourself, who swear by the grind, the daily repetition of practice, reps. So where's the middle ground, AJ? Do we need to rethink how we talk about practice versus performance? Or is this just one of those unique Iverson, like superstar moments where the natural ability outweighs the need for endless practice? Thoughts, AJ?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that practice is still underrated in the things that we could draw from it. And when I work with people on their mental performance, when I'm working with teams and athletes, I actually try to use practice as a vehicle to have them understand that there's still things that they can get out of practice that they're not yet, just based on their perception of what practice is. Right? Jon was talking about the confidence. That's my number one confidence builder for athletes. Right. And so let's keep this in the basketball world, because we're watching an Iverson clip. Steph Curry comes down the floor and he shoots a three and he misses. What do you think happens to his confidence? Absolutely nothing. It's still through the roof. Do you think he's even going to hesitate to shoot another three the next time they're down the floor?
Right.
No, he won't. Right. Where does that come from? Keith, you mentioned Kobe Bryant and these guys of all this extreme talent. Yes, tons of natural talent, but what actually separates the guys at the very, very top? It's all the things that require no talent. You're not going to get in the gym before Kobe Bryant got in the gym.
Yep.
Steph Curry shoots 500 shots a day, right? Steph Curry is confident that he can go down the floor the next possession and shoot a three because he shoots 500 shots a day.
Right. So the one is like whatever, right?
So one's whatever. He knows he can do it. How is he confident? You know, if I went down the basketball court and I shot a three and I missed, the next possession I'm going down, I am not shooting, man. I think I'm going to be on the bench. I think I'm going to do whatever. I don't shoot 500 shots a day, right? I bet you if you actually went back and looked with Allen Iverson and looked at, how much he was on the playground shooting hoops when he was a little kid, and then how much he was probably just lived in the gym, in high school, probably shooting baskets after school, before school, at lunch hour, doing whatever, right? That's all practice. That's where his confidence comes from, right? He didn't show up in the NBA and he was a superstar all of a sudden. He wasn't born a great performer in the NBA. He had to get there somehow.
Yes.
Right? He had natural ability for sure, but I bet you could go through almost any city in the States and stop at any outside basketball hoop and probably find a million guys that are great at basketball.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to add
there and making and some are not, right?
Marty,
I want
talent. Yeah.
My bad, AJ. My bad. I wanted to add a quick context to that. That was in 2002. I just looked it up. I'm pretty sure that was the year they went to the finals. Yep. They lost to the Lakers. But if they went to the finals, he's been at practice, and the team was practicing at a pretty high level if they made it to the finals. So right. I just wanted to add that in there too.
Yes.
That was ridiculous. But go ahead.
But Marty, that's good though, because that's 20 years ago, but nothing's changed, right? So Johnny, looking at you, brother, practice is important, but it's gotta have purpose. You can't just go through the motions, and you can't rely just solely on talent. And I'm looking at you, brother, because you stepped into 3 different careers and became one of the greats in 3 of them. Doesn't happen with natural raw talent, even though Marty John's like, oh yeah, I'm the fucking most natural talented bodybuilder there is. But joking aside, you had to put the practice in, Johnny. Talk about practicing with purpose instead of practicing just to practice.
Well, I think what's being missed with this whole conversation is and for those listening, I'm sure that you guys are probably thinking this, is when we talk about practice, we're talking about dribbling, we're talking about shooting, we're talking about, practice on the floor, which is great. But what my message is, okay, he's hurt. He can't practice that way. There is always something to practice. When I got hurt, and I got hurt plenty of times, it gave me an opportunity to practice on something else that I didn't have the time to practice. Maybe part of my regime was, there was a small piece of my training or my practice that only allowed a small piece because the physicalities were taking up, most of the time. Well, all of a sudden, if I'm hurt, the physicality portion is on the shelf. Well, guess what? I get a huge opportunity to practice something else to make me better. And I think that's what's missed, is that there's always something to practice. If you want to get better, It does. It's there. The injury is in many cases a huge opportunity because it gives you a chance to focus on something else you may not have had time to focus on.
AJ, let's bring this back to MindFuel. The mental. We talked awareness and intention. How can somebody practice mindfulness on a daily basis? Because I love what Jon just said. Just because you can't do one thing doesn't mean you can't do something else. Yeah. Right? Creating mindfulness requires intention. How can somebody practice mindfulness on a daily basis through intention so that maybe if they can't do something, they can do something else? AJ.
Yeah. So the best definition of mindfulness, right, is just living in that exact moment.
Yes.
We're not worried about the future, which is all stuff that hasn't even happened yet. And we're not worried about the past, which is a whole bunch of stuff that can't be changed, right? We're just living in the current moment and appreciating everything that's happening in the current moment. That's mindfulness in itself, right? The best thing about mindfulness is there's opportunities. We talked about, let me take one half step back here. I don't mean to make this too long of an answer, but we want to simplify stuff. We don't want to wake up in the morning and have 50 things to be better, right? So let's look at things that have layers to them where we get physical benefit, mental benefit, emotional benefit, right? So if we're talking about practice, when I work with athletes, one of the best things is you're already showing up to the rink every day and having to go to practice. It's already something that you do. If we could increase your awareness that, hey, I can actually benefit from this in a positive manner, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Now I can practice with a higher amount of intent and I can check multiple boxes off something that I was already had to do anyway. If we're going to the gym, I think that the gym is probably the greatest mindfulness thing that anyone can have. When you're in the gym and you're working out, the physical benefits might be obvious to people. It is an exercise in mindfulness at its greatest, right? When you're in the gym and you're lifting, during that set, you're lifting that weight, you're thinking about the form, the technique, the way the weight feels. You are solely existing in that moment, right? When I'm under, how much I love bench press. When I'm sitting there, I could have all these thoughts in my mind leading up. I'm trying to concentrate. I get down, I get set. I unrack that bar. I'm only existing right in that moment. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not worried about anything in the past. I'm not thinking about anything in the future when I'm lifting that weight. It is the perfect vehicle for mindfulness, is getting in the gym and working out and exercising, right? So, we don't want to add a million things to your day. We want to have a couple things and do them really well and understand that these things have multiple layers to them and can benefit us in a very holistic manner.
Awesome. AJ Zeglen, Johnny, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just to kind of break things down for people, keep it real simple. If you have a set time that you practice something, and let's say you get injured and you can't practice that, well, use that time you've already got set to practice something else. There's so many levels of practice. And, when you are in the rhythm, you have a routine of practice. Don't think, you can get better in so many different ways. So don't shortchange yourself. Having an opportunity to focus on practicing something else, in many cases, is going to open a door that wouldn't have opened had you not got hurt or not whatever happened that knocked you out of your normal rhythm. So don't for a minute think that stuff like this is not helpful. You just have to there's an opportunity in every shortcoming. You just got to basically have the nuts to work through it and see it and go get it. But you can don't just think of practice as one thing. You can practice anything to get better.
Practice is progress, the oldest cliche in the book. Hey, listen, if you're loving this discussion, I invite you to hit that like button, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We got AJ Zeglen hang out with us this morning. Hey, listen, we got the In the Gym segment with CMarty and Jon coming up next. They're going to break down the ultimate shoulder workout. But while we're doing that, we're going to walk AJ out of the lab here. And we're going to
thank you, AJ.
Thank you, AJ.
Walk Jon and Marty.
That was terrible.
And we're gonna break down the ultimate shoulder workout with not Jon Andersen, only with Christopher Martin and my beautiful wife Lauren Warniak. So Lauren's joining us for the show here. Johnny,
AJ's gone now, man. Good job, AJ.
All right, AJ's awesome, man. AJ joins us Tuesdays and Thursdays to talk Mind Fuel, getting yourself mentally sorted out to hit those big goals here. But listen, guys, Jon and Marty are going to talk shoulders. How to create the ultimate shoulder workout with Christopher Martin, aka CMartyFit, and Jon Andersen. I'm going to get off stage for 10 minutes, go change the battery in my camera. These guys are going to chit chat or get at her. And then we're going to come
I thought you were the shoulder master.
And we're going to come back and wrap the show up. Jimmy, get me out of here, man. Put these guys on stage.
I love it. All right, fire away, brother.
All right, first thing for shoulders, for me, if you want a fire shoulder workout, because you're going to have to lift some heavy weight, which I'm sure you're going to get to, you got to warm up your shoulders. Me and Jon talked about it before, but real quickly, what I do the chest stretch, a shoulder stretch to get my arms moving, and I warm up with the bar or lighter dumbbells. All right, so after the warm-up, Jon, or what do you do for your warm-up? And after the warm-up, what's your first go-to move on shoulder day to get bigger shoulders?
Well, the warm-up is an interesting element here. So at 52, my warm-up for many people would be considered like holy shit, that's the first chunk of the workout, because I have to get my shoulders so warm, and people tend to bang their shoulders up often because the shoulder's kind of a funny joint. We'll get into that, but warming up is key. And so I would say for me, I'm going to do in many cases, I'll do some really, really high rep lateral raises. Like we're talking 30 to 50 reps, 5 sets. I want my shoulders completely engorged with blood before I move to something like pressing. Now, as well, if your shoulders are really filled with blood and a little fatigued, you're going to get more out of a lighter weight. The muscle doesn't understand how much weight's in your hand. The muscle understands the difficulty of what you're doing. So, for example, if I can warm up and pre-exhaust, and I can get nasty workout out of 100-pound dumbbells for shoulder press, I'm going to take that every time. But I'm going to go from that first exercise, which is because I warm up a little bit by rolling out, swinging my arms around, making sure the range of motion is there, similar to what you're talking about. Then I'm going to go into that really, really stark pre-exhaust warm up. Then I'm going to go into my pressing movements, because my pressing movements are obviously that, to me, that's what I built my shoulders on. Was, obviously a seated dumbbell press, or my favorite is a standing barbell press. That is nasty stuff right there. That's
a good one, man. I love standing and seated barbell press and dumbbell. And then I also, a lot of times on shoulder day for myself, I throw shrugs in there and I do the isolations, but I just go super heavy on those, man. That's just me. And I always go progressive overload. So I'll go shrugs 135, 225, 315. Usually my lateral raise, my front raise, I'm doing 30, 40 pounds, maybe 45 if I'm feeling good. And then once I go up, bring the weight back down, I'm going 30 to 50 reps, just burning that out, just really exhausting the muscle. So how do you feel about that? Progressive overload, and then bringing that weight down to really just go crazy and really tire that muscle out.
Yeah, let's go back in time a little bit. Like when I was training in my strength career, what I would do is I would basically I would start, with my pressing, and I would just start standing barbell press. And I would just start working my way up, and I would do say a max set of 3 or max set of 5. I'd pick a fairly short number. And I would basically it was not uncommon for me to get worked up to a set of 5 with 4 plates aside on a standing barbell press. Now, once I reached that point where I couldn't, and keep in mind the gym used to always get pissed off because when you miss one of those, it's going to the ground, But then once I missed one, I would basically tear it down, put it back up, and then I would go to a lighter weight. So I'd go to 315 and I would do a set of as many as I could, and goodness knows how many I would get. And then I would drop again to 275 and do it again, another complete failure set. And I would go down to 225 and I would do it again. So basically
like a drop set.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I took rest between because my goal was to get the maximum amount of reps out of each weight. But keep in mind, part of the trick to this is when you go up to a heavy weight, for a few reps, and then you drop the weight way down, your central nervous system is firing. So that weight feels extra light. So if you're looking to get a PR with a lighter weight with, let's just go for pretty much any exercise. Get yourself up to a really, really nasty weight with a lower rep range, drop down to a lighter weight and just go house. And you'll be blown away at how many reps you'll get.
No, that's real. Now, let me ask you. So you do, you go all the way up, you're going down, you're maxing out, you're going until failure, AMRAP, as many reps as possible. Mm-hmm. How's your cardiovascular system feeling? Because you got to be activating your heart rate's got to be going crazy when you're doing that too, because you got to have some stamina to do that.
Yeah, these are hit sets, man. I mean, especially if I'm trying to think like on a set of 225, sometimes I wouldn't go down that far because that would be a set of like between 40 and 50 reps. And that took so much, that was a long time. And it wasn't always my shoulders giving out. It was the fact that I was out of wind, my whole, the oxygen in my bloodstream wasn't able to keep up. And so
I can't imagine.
And so, but that's part of the whole thing in the strength world is you're trying to push your body to new limits in every which way you can. And so, those longer sets they're going to serve a lot of different purposes. Your heart, muscle endurance, more than anything, it's going to develop that mental toughness that when you think you can't breathe, when your core is all wiggly because you're so fatigued, can you get another one? Yep. You probably get another one. And guess what? You'll get another one after that. When you really start hurting, just ask yourself, can you get one more? And every time you get one more, ask yourself the same question. Can I get one more? You sometimes will get 6, 7, 8 of one mores when you didn't think you had one more because that brain's telling you to get out.
Yeah, you got to feel your core on that as well. And, man.
Absolutely.
So you burned the shoulders down. You did some isolations. You did some presses. How do you feel? Because sometimes on my shoulder day, if I got some extra time, I'll throw in some bench press and some lat pull downs or some pull ups, just something different just to, because you're working your shoulders on those as well. How do you feel about adding those movements into a shoulder day, maybe at the end of your, at the end of your regular workout?
Well, I guess it's a great question. It really depends on the individual. Per example, if you got chest the next day in your program, probably not a good idea to do some at the end of your shoulder.
Oh no, I got legs tomorrow. I got legs the next day.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes down to it, I guess it really depends on what you got left. Because my goal was to make sure that there was nothing left by the end of that pressing. And if I truly felt like I gave it up and there was nothing left, I did my job. But now my job is to have the discipline to get the fuck out of there. Excuse my language, because once you really, really start to own this shit and you really start to want to do it, we talk a lot about that. When you start to build these habits to where you want to go to the gym, you're going to find yourself where your discipline is not to get there. Your discipline is to know when to leave.
All right. So that's clearly like a super high intensity day. So how are you doing that week by week? Are you just going balls to wall on shoulders every week? Or are you, all right, so I went crazy last week. I'm going to have a lighter shoulder day this week. How do you go about that?
Well, everything kind of cycles because like in those days, you're basically peaking for a contest. You go to a contest and keep in mind the week leading up to a contest, you do nothing. You walk, you don't lift any heavy shits. There's a lot of recovery. You compete. Then you're going to have, damn near another week off again to let your body recover. And then you're going to start your cycle again, which is to work up to that maximum performance, before that next contest. So when you're competing, or when I was competing, it was cycling itself based upon my preparation. Now, where I have more of a struggle, like now, where I'm not actively competing, is now I have to force myself to cycle without having something I'm preparing for. And in my case, a lot of times what that means is I'm not good at showing up to the gym and say, I'm just going to ease through this workout. That's not me. I have a hard time with that. I'm either going to drop the hammer or I just won't show up. And that's where I choose to, okay, you know, I'm going to choose not to show up. That's the discipline right now for me, is knowing when not to show up. And again, it's just the flip side of the equation. We're talking about creating the habit of showing up is what we talk about a lot about here. Well, there's a certain point where all of a sudden the discipline is to know when not to show up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, we're hanging out with Jon CMartyFit and Keith Bilous here. Jon and Marty wrapping up the In the Gym segment. We're just talking about building the ultimate shoulders. I was taking that in, man. That's some good stuff there. And I love how I like how you ended it. It's understanding the discipline when not to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And that leans back into this idea of awareness and intention. Marty, question for you before we wrap up. How do you know, Marty, when not to show up? And then Jon, to you next. Marty, how do you know when it's like, no, I can't show up today? How do you know, Marty?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I try to have set days that I take off.
Yes.
Usually Saturday and Sunday for me. I try to take off 2 days. But I mean, you know, some days I'm either bitching or some days I just really don't have it, you know, and usually I know when I wake up. You know, if I'm just like super sore, I got a busy day, there's no way I'm going to have an effective workout. There's no way I can go 100%. And it's not just my mental blocking that. Yeah, I'm taking the day off, man. I'm taking the day off. Yep.
Johnny, how do you know?
Well, I mean, this is just me because I know the challenges that I have. So I create systems to make sure that the challenges I have don't cause me to lose progress. So I'm actually much better off making the decision the day before. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to execute the decision I made the day before. Because in the morning, for me, there's every fucking reason on the planet why I shouldn't do what I want to do. And that's part of my morning routine, is getting my mind in that right spot. So that decision has been made the day before. And every once in a while, it'll be a little skewed. But for the most part, I'm on point, because at the end of the day, I can tell, am I run down? At the end of the day, I know, do I need a little extra rest? And the crazy part about it is when you learn to use this rest as you need it, it is far more effective than the training that you were going to do. You know, you take a day off and you feel great and you're strong, you're mentally sharp. You get yourself overtrained, you start losing all that stuff. So it's really starting to understand yourself. You know, that awareness, self-awareness is key in this decision-making process.
Go ahead, Marty.
Now, I was going to say, I definitely feel great after a rest day, but my problem is I wake up every day like, let's fucking go. Like, I just wake up with a different energy. So I never know. It's hard for me to say that the day before, because if I feel good, I'm probably going to work out.
Well, and that's a good point, Marty, because when I make the decision, okay, I'm not training, I know I'm going to have that, you know, I'm chomping at the bit. So I have to basically have a task that I'm going to invest that energy into, where basically, because if I don't have that task and I haven't premeditated what I'm going to do with that focus and that attention and that energy, that to me is a bad situation. So it's just a shift of my focus for the day.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, Johnny, because yesterday we were talking about all week. We've been talking about chasing feelings. You know, I know you woke up on I think it was Tuesday in the loop here this week. And a little bit out of sorts. Yesterday a little bit. And, you know, Johnny, because the night before I made the decision what I was doing yesterday morning, and I made the wrong decision. Right. And then I went through my morning routine, Marty, and I was like, oh, I didn't get the feeling that I wanted. And on yesterday's show, I said to you guys I was going to go chase a feeling. I got off the show and I went and did my thing. 45 minutes later, I found that feeling I was chasing. You know what it reminded me of, Jon and Marty, was that I know what I need to do before the show to get that feeling. And when I go against it is when I fail myself. Right. So this morning, I did it this morning and I was like, yes, I reminded myself. But for me, though, Marty, it's that balance of there's some days where I need to learn how to pull back. It's learning how to pull back.
And the thing about it is we got to remember in this process of being aware of ourselves and managing ourselves, there's going to be plenty of mistakes, and these mistakes are needed. Yes. So when you make that mistake, you think, okay, this is a bitch. Yes. But guess what? I don't have to make this mistake anymore. and you file it away, you put it aside, and you know that's one less mistake you have to worry about making in your future. But remember, mistakes are magical. You need mistakes. You learn from mistakes. Sometimes I shouldn't say sometimes, almost always, you're going to learn more from a mistake than you are from not making the mistake. Because if you think about it, when we learn to manage ourselves and we can move forward without making mistakes, we make a lot of progress. Now, the key is we're going to make a lot of mistakes to get to that point where we're not making as many. So embrace those mistakes early in your journey.
This is why I love this show. And this is going to sound so cliche, and to some listeners, it sounds so dumb. But this is why I love this show, because I made a mistake 2 days yesterday. And I'm like, damn it, I made the wrong decision. And then this morning, when I went through that thought process, Jon and Marty, and I made the right one, I leaned into what you just said, Jon. I'm like, yeah, I didn't make the same mistake I made 2 days ago.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not going to do it again. And like I've been talking about with Lauren, like every single day for 2 hours, I'm out here talking to Business Athlete Nation like you guys are. How can we leave the show and be a hypocrite? We can't, right? So this show has very much kept me on par and kept me on this straight. You know, I hear things that you drop, Marty. I hear something that you drop, Johnny, and then I go through my own intentions and I make mistakes. When fuck, that didn't work out, right? So I bring it up to end the segment because we talked about chasing feelings and so forth, and I get a sense, Johnny, that maybe you found your feelings today, and I can see Marty's. We get some good rhythm here today, but it's really about just finding what makes you work. And for me, 2 days ago, I made a mistake on the decision the night before. I corrected it yesterday. Today, I'm feeling like a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, though, and keep in mind, we all have these different ways we're going to use to keep ourselves in line. And one of the things that I ask myself, and it's really, really helpful, especially if it's one of those moments where, you know, I need to give myself a little kick in the crotch.
Yes,
is you know, I ask myself a question. How can I lead others if I can't lead myself?
I think that's exactly it. It's so, but Jon, so simple and cliche. And again, we've taken the responsibility of building the show together. And how can we sit down and tell Shinku or Good Time or So Young and say, oh, you got to do this? Yet we're fucking not doing it ourselves.
Yeah,
agreed.
Right? And that's why I have leaned very much into like my relationships, listening to things you're talking about, Johnny, and you know, not raising voices and stuff. I'm going, well, fuck, man. No, like I'm better than that. If I'm going to tell people to be better, I got to be better too. So, anyways, we can talk about this forever. Jon and Marty, you got to rock and roll. You guys have got some things to get to. Me and Jimmy, because Kristina's on here. Me and producer Jimmy are going to wrap up the show with the community corner, the creator spotlight, and then we're going to get after it. So, Marty, highlight from today's show before we say goodbye, buddy. Marty.
Oh man, Dan is freaking hilarious, man.
Yes,
that's a funny guy.
Yeah, so, I agree. Yes.
And AJ was great. You know, I just love how AJ relates everything to like, you know, he related Allen Iverson to his athletes, you know, and I thought that was just freaking crazy, man. That's impressed by that. Yep.
Absolutely. Johnny, what did you take from today's show, brother?
Well, I think that if people, I love the topic of practice, you know, and I think that, you know, I always try to, sometimes when you say something, you know, in one way, like, you know, practice creates confidence, that speaks to some people, and other times it doesn't. So another way to say that, which I think is really key. So I love this topic because it helps people understand the work instills your worth. So when you're putting in the work, it gives you that self-worth, which creates that confidence. You know, you're putting in the work, you know, you should be there. You have confidence. And when you have confidence in what you're doing, you start having fun. And when you're having fun doing something, now you have literally the superior confidence to do great things. And so it all comes back to, you know, doing that shit that's not sexy, you know. And the last thing I want to leave people with is, you know, when what is sexy about doing the shit that's not sexy is this. And I hung my hat on this real early, and it really helped me. Was I was doing all the shit when no one was looking. And I was doing all the unsexy shit every day. And all of a sudden, because I was able to do what other people wouldn't do, that became sexy. Long before I had the sexy lifestyle. So you can actually make the things that are not sexy, sexy. You just got to do them long enough that everybody else realizes, holy shit, they're going to say, I can't do that. But realistically, what they're saying is, I won't do that. Now you're sexy.
Yeah, isn't that true? Isn't that true? All right, boys. Jon, Marty, you guys gonna rock and roll out of here? Good to have you. Good to hang out with you guys this morning. As always, me and Jimmy are gonna wrap up the show with the creator spotlight. Johnny, you said something yesterday, man, which I haven't stopped thinking about. Marty, he said something along the lines of, "A man is." What did you say, Marty? Johnny, a man.
I was almost going to put that in today's lifestyle tip, but I was like, it was too close. I just dropped it yesterday, so it's coming soon.
A man that is correct.
A man that believes he cannot, and a man that believes he can are both correct.
I have not stopped thinking about that since yesterday. Honestly, I was in the kitchen last night thinking about it, because the truth to it, there's no debate, frankly. And Marty, what got me thinking about it is, we know Johnny, you're a philosophy major and a theology major, right?
Yeah.
It's cool, right? So that philosophy major, Marty, has come to work for Johnny because the guy drops fucking nuggets left and right? But that statement, man, holy
powerful shit, dude. That's powerful shit.
It is.
Most people, they hear that and they go, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What am I choosing to believe? Because if you hear this, if you believe you can achieve, but that's only one side of the equation. When you think of it, when both of them are paralleled, you're thinking, oh my God, I believe that I can't. Well, I guess I'm never going to. And I can't is relinquishing accountability. You're better off to say, I won't. I choose not to, because at least that way you're being honest with yourself. I can't is just a straight up lie.
Yes. Hey, do you guys have 2 minutes to stick around for something just related to this?
Let's go, baby.
Seth Kuhn, our good friend Seth Kuhn, who was on the show here last week and 2 weeks ago, he made a post yesterday which relates to this, Johnny. And I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it. Seth's a big listener of the show. I have nothing but affection for the guy. He wrote a post yesterday which fucking moved me, man. I got to read it to you guys because I think it's going to strike you too. Listen to the vulnerability, because Jon, what he's talking about is exactly what you just said. LinkedIn announced a work anniversary on my behalf. I tried deleting the post, but it persists. Trying to explore why I feel the way I do about something most people would celebrate. I am getting very kind messages and congratulations from some of you, and I appreciate all of them. Here's where it gets really crazy, man. I think the reason I don't want to actually announce the anniversary, because I still see myself working where I do as a failure. I haven't changed careers. I haven't made my goals. I'm still in the same dead-end job. It was a good job for a time, and I appreciate it for that. I am, however, long past the point of needing to move on. So if you see the notification for my work anniversary, there is no need for congratulations. Listen to this, boys. It isn't an accomplishment. It's a lack of ambition for way too many years. I saw this post. It just ripped at my heart because it made me think back to what you said, Johnny. Right? Seth's at a fork and he's got two paths, and there's not one path that is correct. Like, you talk about vulnerability and leaning into this. See, the guy just puts himself out there and he's like, man, you guys are all celebrating me, but I've actually failed. But yet that's not incorrect, Johnny, either. When you hear this post, what do you think when you hear this post?
I think, a lot of times when, I guess the celebration, I'm not good at celebrating myself either.
Yeah.
And largely it's just because, when I'm celebrating, so to speak, I'm sitting still. I might be looking back.
Yes.
And I don't want to look back to learn. And, what I want to celebrate is my next win moving forward.
Yes.
So, it's like my win, my celebrations are, all in my near future. And it's another easy win, but I don't stop to celebrate. It's just another box I check on to the next one. So I think it's, it's kind of, I relate to the fact that, where he's coming from, where he's at this kind of crossroad where people saying great job. But in essence, I believe for me, what really makes me feel good is moving on to the next easy. And I say easy win because, it's really, we want to have our life set up with all these different daily checkpoints that make us feel good and they're wins. And so I like to celebrate the fact that I'm still moving forward, not celebrate the fact that, I'm sitting still or looking back to reflect on what created that moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Marty, when you hear Seth talk about his journey and this thing, like, nah, don't celebrate me, man, because I haven't achieved what I want to achieve. What do you hear when you say that?
I think that's just a testament to the man he is.
Yes.
You know, he has beautiful daughters, I believe, beautiful family.
Yep.
You know, and he has some great stories about his job. So clearly, he values it. He loves it, but he just knows he's capable of more. And I think we need more men who want to be capable of more, who want to get to the next level, who aren't content, right? Who aren't complacent. So I think that's amazing. That's actually really motivating. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can very well acknowledge the accomplishment and not celebrate it.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm happy.
That's a great way to put that, brother. That's a really good way to put that. Hell yeah.
Definitely. Yep. So I'm that's great. I didn't see that post, but I'm glad you brought that to our attention.
Yeah, and you know what, as I wrap it up, Seth, Jon, and Marty, what I really leaned into his post, especially in today's theme of authenticity in the age of social media, I just wanted to walk even further closer to Seth when I read that post, because you talk about a raw, vulnerable man, Marty, who just offers himself up there. Like, how do you not want to walk towards that human being and say, I want to get to know you? Yep. Right? So you talk about real and authentic. Like, I want to get to know more of you, Seth Kuhn, because if you're going to offer that vulnerability out for me as a human being, dude, that's the kind of humans I want to surround myself with. So Seth, you keep going at it, brother. You got some fans here in the lab. I know you listen to us daily. Well, listen, we listen to you too, pal. So keep getting after it. And I have nothing but respect and appreciation for you. And Jon and Marty, I got some jokes here that Seth's been writing for me, but I just haven't been ready to pull them out yet. So Marty, listen, they're not poll jokes, Marty. Okay?
Did you say poll them out?
Oh. I know. So,
well, here, generally speaking, when someone has a writer for their jokes, the jokes are going to be better. That's why they have a writer.
Get out, Jimmy, get these guys out of here. I'm gonna walk them out of here like this. Hold on, Jimmy.
Oh man,
the footsteps, man. You gotta be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh Jesus,
See you guys.
Have a good one, Keith.
All right, mornings in the lab with Keith, Jon, CMartyFit. See you again. Shinku, good time. Those guys are heading out of the library. I'm working on better sound effects. Trust me. So listen, at this point of the show here, we like to do the community corner, which is where we take somebody within the social platforms. And right now we're leaning into LinkedIn, and we have something we call the creator spotlight. So I'm going to turn my Shinku, great show. Thank you. You're just left with me now. I kicked the other guys out. They're walking out in their snow boots, their snowshoes, and Johnny's got the big cigar and he's walking out there and he's smoking it and so forth. So, and Marty's looking at me going, what the fuck, man? All right. So anyways, all right. Creator spotlight, the community corner. Let's get over to this camera over here. Jimmy. Producer Jimmy. Yeah, just Keith and producer Jimmy right now. So those of you that don't know who actually produces the show, is Jimmy behind the scenes. The guy's doing a fucking great bang up job. Flynn, she's just a pretty face on the show. It's actually Jimmy doing all the work. Anyways, now it's time for the community corner, where we celebrate some of the most innovative and inspiring creators out there. Today's creator spotlight shines on someone with a unique blend. Oh yeah, I said that. A unique blend of startup grit. Good time, Jimmy says. Great job, Jimmy says. Good time. Yes. Today's creator spotlight shines on someone with a unique blend of startup grit and Fortune 100 level strategy. No, not Fortune 500, not Fortune 1000, Fortune 100 level strategy. We're talking about, no, I'm not going to drop the name just yet. No, he's a visionary who knows how to take an idea and turn it into a multi-million-dollar business. We are excited to share his story with you today. Let's dive into what makes this person stand out before I drop his name as today's creator spotlight. Today, we are featuring someone who possesses a truly rare combination of startup mentality, Fortune 100 expertise, currently leading something called Flight Level 180. He's building an ecosystem of product capabilities to accelerate business growth with a relentless focus on execution. But listen, nation, I'm telling you right now, his story just doesn't stop there. Oh, baby, no. He's the founding CEO and president of Max Sold. He transformed a $50,000 investment into a thriving marketplace with nearly 500 employees across 30 plus metros in the US and Canada. When he exited the business in 2022, he sold it for high 8 figures. Oh yeah, Oh, yeah. And had the last month's sales of over $30 million. This guy just didn't grow. He just didn't grow a business. Oh, shit, no. He grew an empire. Yeah, true story. Max sold a spot on the Financial Times fastest growing companies in America's list, as well as recognition in Growth 500 and the Globe and Mail Top 400 multiple times. Who wrote this, man? It's like nonstop for this fella. His relentless focus on growth and leadership has earned this fellow a reputation as one of the top business minds in his field. Today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab on October 10th is, and I got no drum rolls today, so it's just going to be me doing the drum rolls and the sound effects. Today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is Sushi Paramel. All right, I'm going to move my head over here to see Sushi's stuff here. So Sushi is, Sushi is from Canada. Yep. Accelerating Outcomes, season leader with both Fortune 100, Amex, Dell, Bell, startup experience, investor, Hope Air, volunteer pilot. Hey, I don't know about you, but if you got a volunteer pilot, would you want to fly on the airplane? Or do you want to have a pro pilot? Sushi man. I would not put volunteer pilot on my profile because I don't know if I'd want to fly the volunteer pilot. Anyways, founding CEO of Max Sold, achieved a $30 million sales of $50,000 in initial capital. Listen, I love the stuff the guy's putting out here. I did some looking on his profile, and Sushi creates amazing content, inspiring content, but this is the one that struck me when I decided to put him up today. What does this button do? My son asks me every time he's the co-pilot in the seat. And Sushi says, my son has taught me that asking the right questions reveals insights, leads to understanding, and sparks the exploration and the learning in life and in business. Questions. Oh yeah. Questions shape the journey. Those right questions open doors, lead to growth, build connections, challenge assumptions, and invite collaboration and innovation. And that's clearly what Sushi is doing here with his profile and with the content that he creates. So I invite you, nation, to go check out Sushi Paramel's profile on LinkedIn. He is our Creator Spotlight for this morning's Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. All right, Sushi, that's it, my friend. That is celebrating you here today. Hey, listen. If you have somebody you want to invite to the show, I would invite you to submit their name to me, to Kristina, to Marty, to Jon, and say, hey, I want to celebrate this person for the Creator Spotlight and bring them on into the lab here and have some fun with them and have some conversation and get to know them. So, okay, so it looks like people keep showing up on the show here, Jimmy, so maybe we'll just keep chatting away here. So typically around this time we do the business and branding segment, but Kristina's off today, so I would lean into the business and branding segment, or I can wrap the show. So I think what we're going to do at this point is we're going to wrap the show. We've had a great conversation today. We started around inauthenticity in the age of social media. We talked about what's real, what's not real. We talked about sharding. We talked about practice making perfect and so forth. A full show. I invite you guys to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share with all your friends. And remember, we do this thing every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Myself, Jon Andersen, Christopher Martin, producer Jimmy, producer Kristina Flynn. We get up every single day for one reason and one reason only: to help you guys be accountable to achieve the biggest goals in your life. True story. Yes, we help you not hit the snooze button. If you hit the snooze button, you're 9 minutes behind. Nah, we don't subscribe to that. Get up, get your ass in gear, and get going. Right? Good time. That's how we do it. And before I say goodbye, again, like the channel, tell your friends, and come join us tomorrow, Friday, Mornings in the Lab. We got a guest. Let me pull up my calendar here and see what we got coming in tomorrow morning in the lab here. Tomorrow we have joining us in the lab is going to be, I'm looking, Jimmy. And I was always taught when I was doing this talk radio stuff, pretend you're talking to one person. Tomorrow, Pierre Sabah is going to join us for Center Stage, and he's also going to stick around for Deep Dive. And of course, Jory's going to join us tomorrow for Protein Break. We got Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Jory Jansen joining us tomorrow as well. So, all right, let's get out of here. We're going to get out of here. No, don't hit the snooze button. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here, YouTube, X, LinkedIn. And hey, as we keep growing, you never know where you'll find us next. Have a good one, nation. Jimmy, I'm walking out of here. You got the camera controls. I'm doing this.